This tutorial is about beveling and how to use the bevel modifier efficiently. These blue lines show which edges have a bevel weight. Bevel weight goes from 0 to 1, essentially 0 to 100%. Let's add a bevel modifier. You can switch it to weight. Now you can adjust the bevel on specific edges, like this one. Depending on how many segments you use, it becomes easier to see. As you can see, you can adjust the bevel size with the slider. If it's set to 1, it uses the exact distance defined in the modifier. If you lower it, Blender interpolates between the values. Now I want to combine the bevel with a subdivision modifier. That's straightforward. You can actually use the bevel modifier as support loops by, for example, setting the segments to 2. Let's check the wireframe view. If I set the profile to 1, you can see what changes. You basically get support loops, similar to manually adding them around the corners. But manually added loops make later edits more complicated, while this method keeps the mesh much easier to modify. Now I can add a subdivision with Ctrl +2, for example. And now I have clean geometry and smooth edges. This works everywhere. It becomes even clearer with a cube. I'll create 2 cubes. Both get a subdivision modifier. On this one, I'll add manual support loops. And here, I'll instead add a bevel. Make sure it's above the subdivision so it applies first. I set it to 2 segments with a profile of 1 and then switch it to weight. Now I can just tell it to generate support loops for me. Both cubes look identical. When I disable the modifiers, you see they still match. But the difference is obvious when you try to edit them. With the manual support loops, you have to move all the corners at once. With the modifier version, that problem doesn't appear. The edge gets corrected automatically. Much simpler, and we can go further with this. Let me make a new cube and give it a bevel, a weighted bevel. I'll set the weight-based bevel to maximum for demonstration. I'll increase the amount here. And then I'll add another bevel on top. So this one is the weighted bevel, and the second one is angle-based. Now we can increase the segments and reduce the offset. On top of that, it's best to add a weighted normal modifier to get smooth, consistent edges. Why weighted normal? If we use shade smooth, you get a visible gradient, the shading isn't straight. Weighted normals fix that and only smooth the actual edges. Now, with the weighted bevel, we can easily adjust the entire shape however we want, with almost no effort. Of course, you can still bevel manually if you prefer, but this workflow makes later adjustments much easier, especially when a client suddenly wants changes. If you only need a small crease, you just adjust the angle on the angle-based bevel. That's it. Bye.